All right. Okay. Maybe a quick little review. I've sunk a bunch of hours into this game. First off, it looks great. I'm still a little bit new to the jump in quality from PS4 to PS5. So everything being, 60 FPS really hits my PC fancy when I'm used to looking at it on nice screens and such. But the visuals are great. The environments are really well designed. There's a ton of customization that you can do for your Helldivers, your equipment and armor. You get a really fun level of progression, unlocking things, and like not a lot of microtransactions. Not necessarily. Like you can grind all of the cosmetic upgrades and unlock like new what they call war bonds, which are kind of like battle passes where you can get cosmetics and different guns and stuff. But the landscapes are usually, they can be like covered in fog, but the environments are so deep and detailed, and the enemies that you fight, you got bugs and you got automatons, and I expect there might be more coming in the future, because again, everybody's playing more or less on the same server. There's cross-play capabilities, so you can play with your PC friends, and everybody's fight has an impact on the overall story. So the overall quest and objective that everybody has changes from like week to week almost, and it's a great way to keep people participating. I saw a good example of how like that's the right way to have that like feeling of missing out in a live online experience, where it's like, no, you don't want to miss out on buying the microtransaction. You want to miss out on participating in the story, or I guess I should say you don't want to miss out on that, because you and your squad can actually make an impact. So there's a lot of diversity too. It doesn't get repetitive, not just in you have your equipment, your loadout, and then you have stratagems, which are so much fun. You can really play off of a team's strengths and weaknesses based on not just what you bring, but how you use it. And even in voice comms, people are talking about, oh, I'll bring this, you bring that, or we can tag team this item. You can have
awesome.
your fellow Helldiver can like help you reload your rocket launcher or your autocannon. I'm a huge fan of the autocannon. That weapon is very satisfying to use. And so there's a lot of variety, not just in the equipment, but also in the objectives. Because you had Gears of War Horde mode. I used to play Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, where you get maps and you fight
Mass
hordes.
Effect 3 multiplayer.
Yeah, I didn't finish the main story because of the multiplayer, kind of like Blitzball in Final Fantasy X. But there's so many different objectives, and the scale of the progression and the difficulty is really satisfying. Because pretty much you should only really bite off what you can chew when it comes to selecting missions. I won't play like a hard mission unless I know I have like a good team, and you earn more based on the risk you take, but there's a lot of exploring to do. There are so many different planets and environments. They really cover all their bases with the bugs and the bots right now. You got frozen planets, you got hot planets, you got electric planets, you got planets with meteorites falling on them. There are weather events. There are weather events that take place. Fire tornadoes. My God. You do not want to be caught in a fire tornado. And I don't know how these space colonies survive in space on all these really hostile environments. But and also the comedy, the bit of joke. I feel like I'm literally playing Starship Troopers, the game, So they take that idea and run with it. And, from the moment you start playing basic training, you're kind of immersed in this atmosphere. Like, yes, we're all in this for Super Earth, and we need to defend democracy and freedom, people I know and talk to on the internet are still saying like, yeah, for freedom, for democracy. And there's the jokes, the one-liners show up like, have a taste of liberty. So it's so immersive, so atmospheric, very, very funny. And it's cool that everybody gets to participate. And then, there's some bugs. Okay, not just the ones that you fight and you shoot, but I've glitched
get in
out.
The way of shooting.
Yeah, very much. Sometimes like an enemy will freeze in place, and like no matter what you throw at it, it won't go away. Or sometimes a piece of graphics like on one of the enemies will just stretch out to infinity. So there's still some kinks. It's not like a completely perfect game, but even then, like I'm having so much fun. Like a couple of the mechanics, they're like not super well thought out. Like when you're carrying heavy items to say like load a piece of artillery, like you can just mash the X button and like make it move faster as you drop it and pick it up again. Or you think hell diving is like from orbit, from space, but it's actually the diving you do on the ground when you're surrounded by enemies, and you mash like the circle button and you just dive instead of crouch, and that really gets you out of a lot of damage. But in essence, what? You are I got a couple B-roll clips where I am surrounded and I am just diving into the dirt over and over again to avoid damage and have time to reload. It is, it's kind of janky, but it is a lot of fun actually when you're just in moments of panic. Like I'm so immersed that like I get legit like, a little bit of like battle PTSD. Like, wow, I'm surrounded. Like I don't have any ammo. I need help. My friends are very far away. Like if this was real, this would all be very bad.
That sounds amazing. See, this is one of those games that really, really sounds like it puts the tension in the driver's seat, and you're kind of along for the ride because you think that you're going into something that you're equipped for and you're ready for, but everything just gets out of hand. That does sound like it evokes the Mass Effect 3 style of multiplayer where you're rocking and rolling for maybe like even I'll say it, the first 10 minutes of the mission, but then all of a sudden enemies come out that just you have no idea how they're taking so many hits. They don't go down.
Exactly.
Like, you're just like
I totally get their role-playing tabletop influence, because especially when I'm shooting certain enemies that have like armor, and I'm just like, I do not have the right equipment to penetrate this armor right now. I should have loaded out differently.
That is cool,
or a couple of little things make it like really hard and real tense, because the tension is taking center stage in this game. Because when you reload, any ammo left in your clip is discarded. So you really want to it really adds that Starship Troopers element where it's like, wow, anybody in the game could just get taken out by a stray bug because like we need time to reload. And it pays off even more when you have to like watch your partner's back, and you really want to take out anything heading towards them so that they stay safe, and you guys are legit looking out for each other during reloads and stuff. So yeah, you want to empty your clip, and you want to refill it quick. So all in all, like, yeah, this is a pretty solid 4 out of 5 game here.
Nice.
Couple bugs, there's not like a lot of music. There's like, I feel like there's 3 songs that they just kind of reuse. One of them is like the Super Earth Anthem, which is hilarious because you're like raising a flag and saluting it and stuff. So plenty of fun to be made of there. And yeah, it's a good game. I recommend everybody, check it out if you're into this kind of thing. Third person, you can zoom down your scope and get more of that first person experience when you want to, and get some of that Call of Duty shooting in. A lot of fun.
I see the B-roll.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of fun loadouts you can try. There's something for everybody's play style, and if your team can play off of each other, it's great. Throwing in stratagems, different bombs, and like the lasers better at some enemies and explosives are better at some enemies. So you really are trying to build that perfect D&D party before you take on any of the really challenging events. And yeah, a lot of variety too. It's not like the same level over and over again. Like there's missions that stack and you earn more rewards, completing them one after another, and plenty of game to enjoy. 4 out of 5 from me.
4 out of 5 from Drix, CFM. That's the CFM score. You heard it here. So Helldivers 2, if you got a PS5 and you don't got it, you should probably pick it up. It's only $40. And I could see what you mean. When you said that you get that kind of Call of Duty feel and like point of view, you really do. It isn't like you have games like it's an older example, but you have a game like Fallout New Vegas, or even a game, I'll use a more recent example. You have a game such as Resident Evil 4, even the remake, where you can technically aim down iron sights and things like that, and it has that functionality, but that's what it feels like. It feels like a function, right? It doesn't feel like you're aiming down the iron sights. I don't even need to ask you how the moment-to-moment gunplay feels, because Drix, you could see it in the B-roll. Like every shot that you're taking, I can feel the recoil. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's another mechanic that makes it a bit harder too. Is when you're moving, it's harder to shoot accurately. So it's better to crouch or even be prone and dive and take cover and the like. And yeah, ton of variety and a lot to enjoy.
Very good. Well, that's Helldivers 2, and you know what? Arrowhead Studios, it's interesting because they seem to be wanting to be innovating on taking a practical innovation route, because when you think about it, at least when I think about it, I should say, when I think about it, and I think about games that have friendly fire, and you have to commit to your movement, and you have to actually bullet count because you'll discard ammo unnecessarily. That's all old school stuff. That's like the old school shit. That's like Rainbow Six 2, Rainbow Six 3. Like, that's that kind of like level of granularity. And you know what? If they're bringing it back in an accessible and visually impressive way, and people are behind it, I'm cool with that. I like that level of immersion in my games, because it's exactly like they're saying in their interview with Games Industry, and like how you're describing, it lets you feel like you can almost role play in this environment. Like you can, this is what I am doing here. I'm a demo man. I'm the heavy weapons guy.
I'm a medic. I'm a scout. I'm good at recon, and I'm good at blowing things up with armor-piercing rounds.
Forgive me if I missed you mentioning it, but there are no like archetype selections in this game, right? Like, I don't pick soldier or medic or anything. It's based upon my gear and what weapons I'm using, right?
Yeah, it's mostly your armor, but also you get something called a boost. Every character gets their own boost. And yeah, there's things like expanding your radar range for detecting enemies, or just being able to take a few more hits, or just showing up with more supplies. There's an armor that just gives you more ammo and more like stim packs for your health recovery. And yeah, the team that knows how to work together is definitely going to succeed.
Well, perfect. That's Helldivers 2 here on CFM Radio. It's the perfect D&D game. What can we say?
Yep, 4 out of 5 from me, Drix, your DJ Benham.
DJ Benham gives it a 4 out of 5. Check it out if you got a PS4, or I'm sorry, a PS5 or a PC.